They viewed the Cowboys as one of the three most underrated teams this season. The article said Dallas was a legit Super Bowl threat because they now have one of the best play callers in Mike McCarthy, the best receiving unit in the league, and Dak, who they dubbed as the second most valuable quarterback based on last season. So, Shannon, do you have a problem with this?
Yes. How they underrated. Every year we hear about how much talent they have. They've always had talent. The Cowboys, people make it seem like the Cowboys just all of a sudden. Skip, they used to have T.O., they had Tony Romo, they had Jason Witten in his prime, they had Marion Barber, they had DeMarco Murray, they had Leonard Davis, they had Hotel Adams. They had DeMarcus Ware. They had Roy Williams, who was an all-pro, Pro Bowl safety. Greg Ellis. They've always had talent.
And this offensive line has young players?
Yes. When they had DeMarco Murray, who was Offensive Player of the Year, who rushed for over 1,800 yards. Dez Bryant in his prime. Jason Witten. This offensive line, as you mentioned, in their absolute apex. And now all of a sudden, and all I've heard about, Skip, Dak is got the third or fourth best odds to win the MVP. They said
I've seen it as high as third.
Yes. Okay, you took CeeDee Lamb. Everybody's been raving about CeeDee Lamb.
Well, I have.
No, even Skip, everybody's talking about, oh, he's pretty soon. I mean, he just makes it look so good. I mean, Amari's Amari, but CeeDee Lamb has been unbelievable. I mean, I'm confused with this. The Cowboys, people have been picking the Cowboys to get to the Super Bowl. Skip, you can't get picked to get to the Super Bowl and be underrated. That's ridiculous. And that's ridiculous. And I just can't get it. Skip, nobody. How can the Cowboys ever be underrated, Skip? Everybody talk about them. Oh, look, I think I just read yesterday, Skip, they're worth $5.7 billion. 5.7, that's with a B. That's what they're valued at. And who's on Sunday, Skip? Sunday night. Who's on Sunday night? The highest generated game of the 10 highest generated games, 5 of them every year have who, Skip? The Cowboys in it. So how are they underrated? What are we missing?
They're opening a new stadium out here that's actually worth even more than Jerry's yacht, right?
It's double what Jerry paid for his playpen, who was state of the art, but they say this is right. When they say state of the art.
You got it.
You don't believe they're underrated. No, they are not. Skip, this oh my goodness. They're so ridiculous with this. And you know it too.
In my heart of hearts, I do know it.
Exactly.
You got me on this one. And yet, this year is so weird, so strange, so utterly unpredictable.
Yeah.
That I hark back to last night, what we saw. One team didn't look in midseason form, the Chiefs, that they looked in playoff form, and the other team looked like they were in virtual OTAs. I think we're going to see a lot of that, but you made the point earlier, we're probably going to see more of the latter.
Right.
So how do I know what I'm going to see Sunday night? I'll be the first to tell you I do not.
Skip, nobody knows.
But I will tell you this. The odds makers fear my team because my team, the Dallas Cowboys, America's team on Sunday Night Football, is a 3-point favorite at SoFi against a Rams team that just 2 years ago obviously was in the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Did they have that Super Bowl letdown or hangover or whatever? Yes, they did last year. They were pretty good last year. They came close to making the playoffs last year, but they faded down the stretch and they did not. So do I think my team's better than the Rams? I do. Do I want to believe in my deep, like in my soul, that they're being a little bit underrated because there's a lot of firepower here and a lot of new firepower on defense? I do. But the point, to your point, Pro Football Focus is suddenly calling my quarterback last year the second most valuable quarterback. They went 8-8.
Thank you.
How can you say that? Even I can't say that. In my wildest daydreams, I can't think of him as the second most valuable quarterback last year because I don't know how many times we talked about, you gave him 7 Fs in his last 13 starts last year. And a couple of them, he deserved.
Yes.
He was not great down the stretch last year, especially at New England and at Chicago and against Buffalo on Thanksgiving and then at Eagles, it was the closeout game, one way or the other, sink or swim, rise or shine, and they fell on their face. He had a banged-up shoulder, but I can't give him that pass and that excuse. He just wasn't very good. And remember, he missed Tavon Austin, who'd broken wide open on a throw that could have maybe tied the game if they had made a two-point conversion.
Right.
Okay, so we got that going on. And then I read, there's another anonymous quote. We're going to get to this a little later, but it adds up all the bad things that have gone wrong since July. Okay, Dak doesn't have a contract. Is he going to have even more pressure this year to go play for a contract, show Jerry? Yeah, he will. Am I a little nervous about that? Yeah, I thought he started pressing down the stretch about the contract. Then Gerald McCoy, gone for the year. I thought he was going to be the new pillar, anchor, and leader of the defense, and he's gone.
Yep.
And then Randy Gregory might or might not be. He's reinstated, but he
can't play. I mean, he can start practice October 5th, and then he can play, what, a couple of weeks later?
I think it's like 8 games in.
Okay.
Can I count? No, I can't count on that. Sean Lee is hurt again. Okay. How many times? I don't know. They still cling to Sean Lee as a leader and captain of the defense, but he's always hurt. And then Travis Frederick is obviously retired, not great. And then Lyle Collins, who was their best offensive lineman, graded out the best across the board, is gone for 4 weeks. Cam Irving is their backup there, and this anonymous quote just rips him. Did you watch the Chiefs film last year?
Yeah.
Okay, he was shaky.
He's not very good.
Okay, so I got all that. But, you know, I first guessed CeeDee Lamb. I'm a believer in CeeDee Lamb.
Right.
And I think he's going to detonate the offense. I think they well could have 3,000-yard receivers.
Okay.
But now the downside, the reason my emotions are so mixed on this day, I'm already hearing Amari, for weird reasons, missing a lot of practice.
Right.
I don't know why.
But, I mean, I saw, Clarence Hill Jr., I follow him, and he said he should be good to go.
Okay, but he's been missing a bunch of practice. Is he pouty over CD's getting all the shine?
Maybe. How you pouty? You just got $60 million.
He got 20 a year.
Yeah, $60 million guaranteed. You pouting about what?
He can be a little sensitive.
Man, look here. People, Skip, I used to go through this all the time. It's like, man, you don't get upset. I mean, you caught 3 passes. You had a big week last week, and then Ed and Rod, I said, I got paid. I say, I go up there every week and get my check. I said, man, I ain't complaining about
the other issue is you got dubbed.
Yeah.
You kept dubbing all the way home.
Like, come on. I said,
you got 3 Super Bowl rings and 3 tries. That'll work.
Skip.
That'll make you sit through those 3 catch games, right?
Skip, did I not want to catch the ball? Sure.
Yeah.
But as I was going to practice, I saw how hard Ron Smith was working.
Okay.
And Ed McCaffrey was working. And they wanted to catch the ball, too.
Okay. So what are my biggest positives right here, right now? There's no more Jason Garrett, no more old 8-8 JG, right? I got Mike McCarthy, a made man. It was long ago, but he did coach the Green Bay Packers and Brett Favre, and coach Brett Favre and then Aaron Rodgers, obviously. But Aaron Rodgers to that one and only Super Bowl. Is he a good coach? Yeah, I think he's a good coach.
I think so too. Yeah.
He used to be regarded as one of the top play callers, if not the best in the league, but. No, he's not going to call the plays, okay?
And Skip, I mean, think about what you added Alden Smith, and everybody's like, oh, he's been a monster at practice. Trayvon Diggs said he's getting his hands on the ball.
Kid from Alabama.
Yeah, like Byron Jones couldn't. Neville Gallimore, you like him, Don Terry Poe. So I'm just trying to make, Skip, how they being underrated?
If it all clicks, if it falls into place, if Lyle Collins comes back on time and can be Lyle Collins again, they could be really good. So I look down the schedule. If they can win Sunday night, I think they will. We're going to go into a deep prediction in a little bit. But then they get Atlanta at home. They have to go to Seattle. I got that a loss. But then they get Browns, Giants at home, Cardinals at home. They have 3 home games.
Right.
They get Washington away, but I think they can win away at Washington. So now that sets up the big at Eagles, which would be November 1st. They could be real good. They could maybe only have one loss.
What's real good?
Well, just one
real
loss.
good?
I'll give them the one loss at
6-2. Oh, they're gonna be what? 6, 7, and 2.
How many would that be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1 going into right? Yeah, 6 and 1.
They're gonna be 6 and 1, huh?
Yeah.
You
okay?
Doing that?
No, I'm just telling you, my hopes run amok. And what did I tell you? I'm trying to govern my emotions because a year ago today, I went out of my mind over the cliff and I said they're going to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And I loved it and I believed it. I believed it all off season. But the truth is, as much as I see a possibility here, I'm not going to jinx it.
You know what?
I'm not.
And you know what will happen? You will change your tune. They'll come out there, look good on Sunday night. And you'll come in here and you'll look at your camera. How about that, Cowboy? I feel good about my prediction.
You hate that. Okay, but what happened last year, they opened at home against the Giants. And then they went to Washington.
Yes.
And then they got the Dolphins at home when they were really bad.
Yeah.
Okay? And you kept saying garbage, garbage, garbage.
Yeah.
And you know what? You were correct, sir. And yet, I was doing a dance over here, and I was, Cowboys.
Yes.
Okay? This year at Rams, that's not a gimme, right? Falcons at home, I don't think that's a gimme.
No.
At Seahawks, that's definitely not a gimme.
Seahawks going to be good.
Okay, so they have a legitimate opposition to start the year.
Yeah.
The first three is legit. So here we go. Yeah, if they go handle the Rams on Sunday night.
I'm just trying to figure out how the Cowboys are underrated when all those firepower, Skip. They got, wasn't they number 2 as far as receivers behind Tampa? They had like a top 3 receiving core. They had a top 5 running back.
I think Pro Football Focus now ranks them number 1. Right. And CeeDee Lamb has played exactly 0 downs in the National
So you got a top 5 offensive line, top 5 receiving core, top 5 running back. Pro Football Focus had Dak as a top 5 quarterback.
And remember, I got a real kicker from the Rams. I got a real kicker, Greg DeLay, right? I had the worst kicker in football, Brett the Fret last year.
And you underrated. I'm confused by that.
I'm just going to be low-key over here, and I'm going to say it's going to be okay. That's all.
That's all right.
Yeah.
I'll be here Monday. Have a lot to celebrate. You know, I like celebrating on Mondays.
Yeah, you don't get to celebrate enough on this show.